Half-Life 2. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words. Valve, the developer. Half-Life 2 opens the door to a world where the player's presence affects everything around him, from the physical environment to the behaviours and even the emotions of both friends and enemies. The player again picks up the crowbar of research scientist Gordon Freeman, who finds himself on an alien-infested Earth being picked to the bone, its resources depleted. Mac, why are you reviewing this? It came out in 2004. Just explain yourself. I have this impression in my head that games back then were just amazing. And a lot of people have said, Mac, they weren't. You're just looking at it through nostalgic rose-coloured specs. So I reinstalled it, downloaded an update. There's an update for this, guys, that makes the graphics a little bit better. And I streamed a playthrough. Now, I've played this whole game through 4 times in my life, but they were back in 2004, 2005. So I haven't played it for like 13 years or so. So here we are. What do I think? Is it as good as I remember? Are games today just way better? Well, let's find out. It's sad. It's sad to say, guys. It's very sad to say that as I was playing through this game, I forgot just simply how brilliant this game was. I am not used to AI being this good. I'm serious. The enemy don't just run after you and charge through the door and let you shoot them in the face. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they will stop and throw a grenade through the door. But what gets me with the AI in this game is they never do the same thing twice. Every situation, you don't know how they're going to react. It's almost like the AI has its own personality. Like every soldier has a different personality. Some are gung-ho, some aren't. They even try to flush you out, guys. They will try to flush you out. If you're hiding in a great place, crouched behind a wrecked car or something, they will throw a grenade so you have to move. And there's guys waiting for you to move. And as soon as you move, bam, they're on you. And it staggered me. I'd forgot how good this game was. I mean, I thought it was good. This is actually better than I even remember it being. That's how amazed I am at this game. It's just amazing. It's simply amazing. It's a linear game. Obviously, it's a linear game, and I knew it didn't have any cutscenes. It has a storytelling blocks along the way where an NPC will start talking to you about things and filling you in on the story, but as in Half-Life 1, you always remain in control of your character. It's not like an unskippable cutscene. There is no hand-holding in this game. Nothing will glow. No enemies will be tagged that you can see them through fucking walls. No. This game thrusts you into some really difficult situations and just leaves you. It just says, and now you will die. Or you will suss out what you have to do and do it. I mean, this game, to push a switch to switch off a force field, you had to climb across a bridge. Now, you might think, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, underneath the road, on the actual scaffolding, all the way across while being attacked off monsters, about 8 infantry and an attack helicopter. And it took you 15 minutes to get across, jumping over the gaps, and it's about a 600 or 700 foot drop. And then you get all the way back after you've pressed a switch at the other side. That's how brutal these games were back then. No one tells you have to go along there. You have to figure it out. You know, the puzzles aren't exactly hard, but they're not easy like they are in today's games. I mean, the stream's quite funny because as I was going along, I'd have to jump through a small window by getting onto a ledge, which I had to make by using the gravity gun and lifting boxes, and then jumping through the ledge while there's a monster charging at me. And you panic and you just manage to get through. And I'd say something like, if that was made today, that whole thing would just be a cutscene. And, you know, that button over there would be glowing. There'd be an arrow pointing at it. I mean, there was a clip. There was a bit where I had to switch the power off to this force field. And I followed the cable along, the power cable, and I saw that it was being generated by the engine of this vehicle, which had chocks behind the wheels. So I just pulled the chocks away and the vehicle rolled off the cliff. The cable snapped and it opened the door. And I just thought, if that had been today, there'd have been the chocks would be glowing. There'd be a guy standing there saying, hey, you know, I wonder if we could somehow move this vehicle, if we could somehow maybe unchock the wheels. you know, unchock the wheels, it would maybe roll off the cliff, and if it does that, it maybe just would snap that cable which is powering, you know, that's how games are today. But back then they were pure games that the gamer would be thrust into this world and just left. Right, the game started, right, bye, I'll see you at the end. Good journey. And that's it, nothing. No clues, no hints, no glowies, no arrows, no guys telling you what you have to do. It's just you versus the game. And what an amazing adventure it was. You go from one situation to another in this game so fast, it's brutal. You hardly get a chance to take a breath. It's just, you're underwater, you're on top of the water, you're flying over the top of the water in a boat, you're on the road, you're in a swamp, you're in a building, you're in a city, you go all over the place. You're fighting all kinds of things, from giant walkers to little tiny face hugger things, guys who wear face huggers as hats and throw them all at you, and when they hit you, you lose all your health but 1%. If you take any damage in the next few seconds, you will die. It's absolutely brutal. You've got monsters that charge at you, that spit at you, that blind you. It's just brutal. It's brutal. You will play with the elements. Fire, you get this gravity gun, this an amazing weapon that you can pick things up and then fire them away from you, and then later on it turns into a gun that you can use on real people. And it's a really good story, taken off from Half-Life 1 where that ended off. I mean, it's not amazing, you know, it's film worthy of a story. It's not the best story ever written by any means, but it is a good story that, you know, it's not over dialogue heavy, but you know you've got to get to the end. You know what you're trying to fight, and you know it changes all the way along as you meet old people from Half-Life 1. It's just so much fun. But what got me was the gunplay. The gunplay in this game is just amazing. Every fight I had with the Combine, the enemy soldiers, was just amazing. It was just so well done. You know, you go to a building and it's all quiet. It's all quiet. And you think, is anybody in there? And then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. Guys coming from all over the place. Not just spawned in, they were always there, but they were just being quiet. And you know, you'll stand next to a door expecting them to come through, and they won't come through. Then a grenade will just trickle through the door and you think, shit, and you just run out the way, and then they'll come through. They'll follow the grenade through, opening fire with shotguns and shit. You hide, like I mentioned at the beginning of the review, you'll hide and then they'll flush you out with a grenade. And what is another great thing is the radio chatter. The radio chatter between the guards is real. Now, when I say it's real, they do what they say. It's not just, you know, for effect. They'll say, right, I'm going in, cover me. And then you know one's coming for you. And so you're like, shit, which way is it coming? Left or right, left or right? Because it's not third person. You can't see round the effing corners. You can't see over the boxes. You're crouched behind a box. All you see is wood. Because that's what you would see if you were crouched behind a box. So you've got to listen. You've got to use your senses. You've got to think, hang on, that sounds like he's coming from the right. I better cover the right. There he is. Bam! That's how gaming should be. Not this third-person wank where you can see 360 degrees above your head and around you and over the top of everything and round every fucking corner. You know, this is a proper game. It's a proper game now. When I was playing it, when I first actually started playing it, I didn't get an option to change the difficulty. So, you know, 13 years is a long time. I thought maybe it didn't have a difficulty setting. I couldn't remember. And so I played a good way through the game on easy, and I thought, this is a bit easy. And it was only when I hit the escape that I saw that the options were there to turn the difficulty up. So I turned the difficulty up, and boy, it makes a big difference. Well worth playing on normal or hard, but don't play it on easy, whatever you do. I haven't got a lot bad to say about this, other than sometimes the controls feel a bit slidey when you're strafing left and right, and the driving sometimes feels a bit iffy. I haven't really come across many bugs. One, I think, where I fired a homing rocket at an airship, and it bugged, it glitched for about 10 seconds, and that's pretty much it. The game is brilliant, and if you don't own this game, you should buy it, because in my opinion, it's the best single player game ever made. I don't think there's a better game ever made. It's better than Half-Life 1. It didn't have the impact of Half-Life 1, but in my opinion, it is a better game than Half-Life 1. And unfortunately, can't believe I'm saying this, there hasn't been a better single player game since. And this was in 2004. And I'm doing a video on this very subject about why modern games suck. And I don't want to talk too much about it now. I just want to concentrate on Half-Life 2. It's a fantastic game, well worth playing, well worth buying. It has stood the test of time, even though it shouldn't have. The games today should be way better than this, but they're just nowhere near as good. And that is a damning indictment of the gaming industry in 2017.